Hi everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar on AutoCAD collaboration techniques and workflows. Today we are joined by Lorenzo, our technical specialist from Ireland, and Jeff, who is our application specialist here in the UK. Thank you both for joining us. This webinar will be recorded, and if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll try our best to answer them all at the end. I will now pass this over to Lorenzo.
Hi everyone, my name is Lorenzo and I'm working for Symmetry Ireland. One second. I started to work for Symmetry Ireland the last September. As you can guess from my accent, I'm from Italy, from a small town in the north of Italy. My background is in 3D design and in particular developing product for injection molding. I started to use AutoCAD when I was in high school, and then here I am just presenting this webinar with Jeff, that is from the UK team. Jeff, if you want to present yourself.
Yes, everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, it's clear.
Fabulous. Yeah, my name's Jeff Older. I've been working with AutoCAD applications best part of 30 years, if I'm honest, and I've seen some fabulous changes in AutoCAD. I'm a trainer here in the UK and particularly looking at the essentials, beyond the basics, advanced AutoCAD, and 3D in AutoCAD. So all aspects of AutoCAD I'm very keen to work with, and of course I work a lot with the visualization side of things as well.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I'm just going on, and this is our agenda. As you can see, I split that in a few units. In particular, I'm going to talk about tips, so tips that can improve your workflow. And this is for the first 4 points of this webinar. And then I will give the word to Jeff, that is introducing the new features and is talking about the new features in AutoCAD 2024 and the collaboration techniques and workflows of these new features that you can use. And then the last section, you can ask a question and we can go on and answer your question. Okay, so let's start with a poll. So this is the first poll that you need to answer, so we can give we can have your feedback on this question. So it should be on the screen. Just feel free to give an answer.
So it looks like we've got majority are engineering, followed by construction, and then architecture.
Okay, I'm back. I'm going on with my presentation. So as I told, it is about tips for an effective workflow. So how you can improve your workflow. Let's move on. The first section, so the first tip that I want to give you is about tool sets. There are 7 tool sets, and they are included with your AutoCAD subscription. You can just access your Autodesk account and download them from your Autodesk profile, and you can install this toolset that can help you with specific components or just parts. For example, the architecture toolset, you can have thousands of components or automatically generate floor plans, elevation, quickly place walls, doors, and things like that. The mechanical toolset, again, it is with thousands of parts. And the important thing is that is including a library of standards that you can use for your project, automate tasks like a bill of material. Anyway, all these tools, they can offer libraries of symbols so also the electronic and the plant 3D, so PIN-IDs. And these time-saving features, they can improve your productivity, so you can be more productive with less effort, and this is the most important thing. Anyway, I'm not going to through each one of them individually because it will be in its own webinar. I'm just going to give you one number, and this number is this one, 63%. It is how much you can gain in productivity with one of these tool set. This number is coming from studies that Autodesk commissioned to outside consultant, and it is a really good number because you can gain up to 63% in productivity using one of those tool set. I found this pretty cool in particular. The second tip that I want to give you, and I'm moving on in the second unit, is about updates. This is just to remind you to keep your software updated. And this is important to ensure that you continue to get the best performance possible. This is the second tip that I want to give you. In particular, when you're running AutoCAD, you can have some pop-up like a product license that is not longer available, license checkout, or license manager that is not functioning properly. All of this is a sign that some updates are missing. So you just need to check your Autodesk desktop app or the new Autodesk Hatches, because from this year, Autodesk is replacing the desktop app with the new application that is called Autodesk Desktop Hatches. And from there, you can just update your licensing service in this case, and all these bugs can be fixed by that. It is important not only for fix bug issues, but also because Autodesk with new patches, it is improving maybe existing features, and also it is improving the performance. And take in mind that with new releases, so with the updates, it is also for ensuring that the compatibility with the new technology, because if you think Windows, it keeps to update every so often, and new technology is coming out. If you think of the video card, the new drivers, and so you need to keep your software updated to ensure this compatibility with the new technology. I talked about Autodesk Desktop App. I'm just going to show you. Maybe you might know this interface. This is the Autodesk Desktop App, and in this screen in particular, it is the screen with all the updates that I need to do for my software. So I just need to click in there, update, and I'm going to update my software with these new updates that Autodesk is releasing. So just a reminder to keep your software updated. Check your Autodesk Desktop App if you're using the desktop app. If it is not showing automatically an update in this screen, you can still go on the bottom right corner of your Windows Explorer. If you click the small arrow on the bottom right corner, you can just go in there, right click on the Autodesk Desktop App application and check now to check if there is any update available. This is the Autodesk Desktop App. As I said, this year is going to be replaced with the Autodesk Hatches. So let's see. This is the new interface of Autodesk Hatches. You can see that is a little bit different, more modern. And in particular, I'm showing you that on the right, there is my account. So I am signed in with my account. So you can see the I'm signing in, you can see the LS, so that is my Autodesk account. I'm signing in with my account. And on the bottom, where there is written available updates, there are all the updates that you can run, and all the updates available that you need to install and download and install on your computer. I'm just showing you here is an example. For example, this one is an AutoCAD update that I ran a few weeks ago. And you can see I just clicked download the update, and this is the screen that you see. You can see that this update is installing, and it is updating my software. Keep in mind that there are also the licensing service updates, so not only for the software, but also for the licensing service, the example that I showed you in the slide before. And really, that's it about the updates. So you just remind to keep your software updated. And also this one can be a tip to make sure to be the best performance, not only with your software, but also with your computer, because all the hardware of your computer are talking with your software, and it is important that you are keeping updated the software. The third tip that I want to give you is the AutoCAD web application. This web application is included with your subscription, so you can just go inside your browser, and you can, for example, access this AutoCAD, and you can use AutoCAD from the browser. So not just viewing your drawing, but you can go in there, draw. There is a drawing panel, so you can actually draw lines, objects, and so on, or modifying panels. And you think that you can access in your browser, but it is also an application on mobile. So you can think that you can go on site with your tablet or your phone, and you can access AutoCAD directly from your tablet. For example, if you want to check a dimension, or if you want to check something that is corresponding to reality just from a drawing, you can open AutoCAD from your tablet and check that on your tablet on the go. You can add markups on your tablet or your phone, and then you can send all this information maybe back to your coworker or your manager with your markups. They can send a feedback back, and while you are on site, so you don't have your laptop in front of you, you can check all this information just with an application on your phone or inside your browser. If, for example, you are not using your laptop, you can access the browser, any browser that you want. So, for example, Chrome, Edge, you can go in there, access this AutoCAD application, and wherever you go, you have access to your AutoCAD. You can access your drawing if they are saved in the cloud. You can open them, send markups, or things like that. This was the third tip that I wanted to give you. I'm moving on, and I'm giving you the fourth one. It is in product, so I'm moving into AutoCAD. I'm sharing my AutoCAD, as you can see. This is related with the model space, so the drawing environment. So there are just a few tips that I want to give you that anyone should know. Maybe you know them already. Anyway, let's just go through them. There are only few of them, so I will be quickly. The first one is just about the polyline. In this particular is using the spacebar. So if, for example, I'm just selecting a polyline, you can see that I have my grip around my polyline. If I click my grip, I'm able to move this grip. You can see that the grip is turned red. It is called hot, so the grip is turned hot, and I'm able to move this. So far nothing is new. If I'm using the spacebar in particular, just using the spacebar, I'm toggling between moving just that point. Just using the spacebar, now I can move the entire polyline. I'm pressing the spacebar again, and now I'm able to rotate my object. Spacebar again, I'm able to scale my object. Spacebar again, rotate again, spacebar, and now I'm back. So it is just a loop that you can toggle between, and you're going back just to move your hot grip. I'm moving on to the second one, lengthen and scratch. I'm just clicking on this line. You can see still I'm just clicking on the grip. And you can see that if I'm going over the grip, there is the stretch and lengthen. If I click on lengthen, my dynamic input is off. So if I'm going there, back in there, you can see that if I'm going there with the lengthen, I'm able to increase the length of my line, or I'm able to give the total length of my line. I'm going into the second one, change text case. For example, I have my text inside AutoCAD. If I'm selecting my text, so it can be single line text or multi-line text, I can just go with Ctrl, Shift, and L to turn that as lowercase. So I had a text that was uppercase. Just selecting my text with Ctrl, Shift, and L, I'm turning that into a lowercase text. The same is if I'm going with this lower text that I have in here, Ctrl, Shift, and U to turn that into an uppercase. I'm moving on into the next one, nudge object. I'm selecting my object. And if I want, for example, to move this a little bit, so just moving this inside this area that I can see that is breaking here inside this object, I can just click Ctrl on my keyboard, and with the arrows, I can move my object a little bit. So I can just go in there and place your text wherever you want, just moving that a little bit. Fix broken edge pattern. I have my pattern inside this object. You can see that is all over the place. I'm barely able to see the hatch inside this object. If I click on that, it is opening my edge tab on the top. I just need to reset the origin of this hatch. So I'm going there, set origin, I'm placing that into another point, and you can see now I'm able to see the hatch inside my object. Again, this is something that maybe you already know, but anyway, it is in there in AutoCAD and you can use that anytime, not just AutoCAD 2024. These are tips that are you can use with any release of AutoCAD. What I want to show with this next trim and extend, it is, for example, I'm going to use the extend command. So here in the modify panel, and I'm extending this line. I'm extending this again. For example, now I want to trim this line, but I am inside the extend command. If I'm using the shift of my keyboard, I'm actually toggling between shift between trim and extend. So I am inside the extend command. With the shift of my keyboard, I'm using the trim command. So I don't need to go in there, change my command, trim, and change again in the extend. I can just use one of them. It doesn't matter if it is extend or trim. I can just go use one of them, and with the shift I can toggle between extend or trim. The last one that I want to show you, it is the selection cycling. I need to turn on my selection cycling here in the status bar, so it is in here. You can see that is with a blue background, selection cycling. It is turned on. If you don't have this selection cycling icon, just go into the customization and add that from this menu. So the selection cycling, it is included inside my status bar. So I have that in here. It is turned off if there is no blue background. I'm just giving that the blue background. It is now turned on. Okay, now I have these three objects. They are inside three different layers and different colors. I'm just going to move them one over the other. So just like this, and then I'm moving this one over this. They are three objects and they are one over the other. With the selection cycling, you can see that if I'm going over them with my mouse, there is that icon beside the crosshair. It is just telling me that this selection cycling is working, and it is telling me that there are multiple objects. If I select left click this now, the selection cycling, there is this dialog box that is telling me, okay, but which one do you want to select? Because there are three, one over the other. So I can just choose, for example, the blue one. So if I'm going with move now, I'm just moving the one that I chose with this drop down menu. I can just go in there, choose which one I want, and then just move that, or just, it is working also with the trim. For example, I can go in there, and the selection cycling is telling me, but which one do you want to trim? And then I'm just selecting the object that I want to trim. And that's it. I was very quick on this. I'm going back into the presentation, and it's here. So in product, and now it's time for the second pool question, just to keep you on the point. The second question. And now, after this question, Jeff is going to present the new features. So maybe you joined this webinar just to know the new features. So just for that, Jeff is going to present that after this pool.
Okay, I will now close the poll and share the results on screen. Now passing this over to Jeff.
Okay. So the next slide, Jeff, you can share your screen.
Okay. Okay. We should be seeing my screen now, and I'm on AutoCAD 2024. There's a few pieces I want to just look at today. First of all, absolutely thank you, Lorenzo, for some really nice tips there. I have to be honest, some of those tips I can remember from a long time ago, but that's still very, very useful, particularly the cycling on the space bar at the start. Very, very, very familiar with that. In fact, I could even show my age here and say that was the original way of moving it before we had light icons and things like that. Okay, so fabulous. So let me look at some nice features in AutoCAD 2024. Primarily, there's two areas I want to look at in collaboration and the traces. So two things really I like on the 2024 is that we have on our collaborate tab now, we do have the markup import as part of the traces. Lorenzo just mentioned a moment ago about the use of the mobile, AutoCAD mobile. Now, one of the things that I like about AutoCAD mobile is the app on my tablet out on site. I can create a trace and then send it back to my team back in the office, and they immediately can use that trace. So what I'll look at now is a little concept on using those traces. So in our Collaborate tab, we have the markup import here. And if I look at a markup that maybe I've done on site, for example, I've got a PDF of this particular view. So if I look at the PDF I have here, I can open the PDF and it will import my markup, and in fact it will overlay very nicely onto my model space here. Now, very often if you created it with PDF, very often it will automatically align. It's actually quite good. This feature was available in 2023, but I must admit it meant that we need to move and align a little bit more. This is relatively straightforward now. It's picked it up quite well. So if I click on accept here, I now have my trace here. So if I activate my trace layer in trace front here, you can see now that on my traces here, I've got an overlay of my PDF, and it's overlaid on top of my my CAD drawing here. But what I really like about this now is that if we look at this now, you can see that I've got some red line marking up here. So for example, on this one, I have a red line here, and the markup is displaying that there is something here. There's a markup assist has identified something here. But also what we have here is written in my red line markup, just a pen on site. I put remove here. So essentially I want to remove these desks. And you'll notice on the 2024 now, we actually have that underlined here. And you can see that it's underlined here. And what that means is that if I select the underline here, you can see that on the little tool tap there, it says that it identifies an instruction, which is really nice. So even though I've written the word remove, I can click on that line there and it activates the erase command. So really nice learning there, in that I can just do my remove here. So I can activate the erase command and just completely erase those out the way. So this really works well. And of course, I've got the same concept down here. For example, this move command here. So if I I just got rid of that again there. Let's just do that again. Sorry, there we go. So I've now pressed enter to remove that, but now you can see that I've got a concept called move here. I mean, this is, once again, this is move. It's a reception desk. Somebody wants to move it down here. So very quickly, I can just click on the move, activates the move command, and I can just select what I want to move and classically move it to how I want it to be moved. This is really useful. So this type of thing, I think, is really useful in our AutoCAD. So this works extremely well. I do like this. It's a lot more improvement on this workflow, getting a lot more fluid in that workflow there. So I've now got my drawing available now. It's complete, and I can then send it back to site if it needs to be reviewed. But that automatic machine learning is quite good indeed. Now, so the collaboration through traces is really good. Like I said, I've experimented with this with the mobile app as well, and that's working very well indeed. If we move over to the view tab here now, you can see that we have a concept called activity insights here. Now, once again, from a collaborative point of view, CAD management point of view, I think the activity insights are quite special in that I can keep a track on how my CAD drawing or project is developing. If I activate activity insights, we would see here that I've got activities that have gone on this project. So for example, traces have been happening there, some edits have been there, and so on. So we actually have quite a comprehensive dialog box here that I can actually set up and look for all the edits I've done over the months. Obviously, everything's been done by me, I'm afraid, on this little exercise, and even from when I did the first traces here. So we do have some nice filters in here as well now. So for example, I could have a filter that describes everything I've done, everything today, last 7 days, and so on, or even a custom filter here. And also, if you're working in the team, we can have a filter of who's working on this project. So for example, if Lorenzo had logged in and he was doing some work on here, it would show up with his details here. Mine's GA there, of course. So it would list up here all the people that have been working on the project, and so you could just flag that up, who's working and so on. And then here, which is rather nice, I've got all the events, or I could have anything that's been edited, any traces that have been created. If you've done purges, if you've done audits or anything like that, they can be flagged up and say, well, actually, look, we did an audit on this 2 weeks ago, or indeed we've done a save here, and we've done a save as, and actually that's happened. And also there's one really nice, interesting one here. If you are using AutoCAD and your file is in a position on your Windows folder, and then you actually renamed it in Windows, so it was the new name, of course, and it's not actually in AutoCAD, it's been renamed in Windows, that actually will flag up as well. So we've got a activity that wasn't in AutoCAD being logged, which I think is actually really, really good. So the activity insights and the collaboration are really, really useful as well. Now, some people haven't used the things like the drawing compare. I particularly like drawing compare. Now, two things to talk about here at the moment. This particular drawing, if I'm assuming this is my space planning little project, so I'm replacing desks and things like this in a space planning concept, this is an external reference, which is my exterior walls. And of course, these are the interior walls being created. So very often, if you're using an external reference, you will use the XREF dialog box to see what changes have been done and this type of thing. So for example, if I come over to my insert here, I could see in my XREFs that I've got my exterior walls is a defined reference here. But one of the other aspects I rather like now, it has been around a little while, but if I come back to the view here, we can see that we've got drawing compare. So if I look at my drawing compare, and then I say, well, if I look at my ground floor plan here now, I can open that and compare the drawing. And you can see that this particular drawing compare is telling me, and it's flagging up a few places here, is that in this occasion, I've got the interior wall has been changed from this one, which was the original one, to now being put around here. So the drawing compare is actually quite powerful tool in association with things like the traces and this type of thing. So like I said, a collaboration, a change is very apparent here. So which is really useful here. Now, those two features I quite like in our AutoCAD, in our way forward. If I move over, there's a couple of bits here that may sometimes I find quite useful. This is in my 2024. I must admit, sometimes it does flicker a little bit, but let's see that if I click on an insert here, for example, and I'm placing a block, let's say my corner desk here, you can see the arrangement of the block in association with the cursor there. And you can see that I've got a table, a desk in the corner here. If I moved over to, say, this corner here, can you see that as it changes color to the yellow outline, it's actually looking at associated positioning. So in other words, what it's seeing, it's got a dynamic sort of view of how the desk would fit. In other words, it's copying this concept over here. I think this is actually quite good as well. So a little access there to the block placement. But like I said, I think, to be honest, that on the collaborate, the traces import here, and the traces are monitored here, that we've done a lot of traces here just because of this exercise, and it really works quite well. And like I said, just coming back to the activity insights here, the activity insights will tell me that there's no event here, and I'd need to make sure that I follow that up. So there we go, from a point of view of some nice little features in 2024. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Lorenzo. I like I said, I appreciated those little tricks and tips there. They're always useful, I think, for anybody at any level of AutoCAD. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. If I'm back inside my screen, I'm sharing my screen. So I'm going back to share my screen. Okay, perfect. So now it is time for the last pool. So the last question that we have for you. You can just go with the last question.
Okay, I will now close the poll. Thank you for answering the questions. We will be in touch for those who would like to find out more. Thank you all for coming. The marketing team will follow up with the recording, and if you have any questions or require any support, please feel free to get in touch.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much, everybody.
Thank you,
very
Katie. Thank you, Joe.